recording.
Yeah?
Then the remote must have a little...
I don't know if you're not there. I gave you my love, but you do not care. What is right? What is wrong? Give me a sign. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. I don't know. What can I do? What else can I say? It's up to you. I know what I want, just me and you. Please give me a sign.
Okay, let's begin.
Compound, a substance composed of two or more elements chemically combined in definite proportions by weight.
Do you think that Led Zeppelin and Frank Sinatra would go together? Edit.
All human beings possess an inborn urge to mate and procreate. Recent research suggests that what we call romantic attraction or love is in fact a primitive, biologically based drive. The biology of romance accounts for the insanity of the love experience, why we will climb the highest mountain for a single kiss, or plunge into darkest despair if our beloved rejects us. The combination of friendship, affection and lust, which lies at the core of romantic love, makes it one of the most powerful emotions humans can experience. Powerful enough to warp even the most sensible person's judgment. In an attempt to discover the chemical basis for romantic love, we took our crew on a trip around the world and visited 8 countries in 30 days, interviewing world experts on the subject. Our society is filled with smitten lovers who can only be described as love fools. We've given 2 couples who are newly in love video equipment to record their love relationship through all its ups and downs.
So where are we going now?
We're going to a very secret little spot, very special to us actually.
It's where we first kissed.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think we're both very nervous that
Are
time.
you sure that was the spot, just over there?
Right here.
Right, yeah. Well, the first time we were very nervous, but now I think we're...
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Love is a deep, tender, ineffable feeling of affection and solicitude toward a person, such as that arising from kinship, recognition of attractive qualities, or a sense of underlying oneness.
Michelle and Martin ask each other probing questions about their love for each other.
What was your best moment with us together?
Well, I think the best moment is probably the most romantic one, and that is because we went on a sunset cruise, champagne sunset cruise, and we had a little packed lunch, which was very cute, and just cruising along like in the Titanic. Did you think we were going to get together?
I hoped. I don't know. Yeah, kind of.
Your most negative, yeah, this is quite a tough one. I reckon maybe at times you can be a bit impatient, which sometimes annoys me, but I know that I can be the same. Probably did get that from your mother. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm very happy.
I don't know. Maybe I just had this perception of you. But was I right? Do you see us in the next 2 years?
The next 2 years, well, we'll be finished our studies then, and I reckon we're both going to go overseas, preferably to Italy, seeing that we are both studying design. And I just hope that doesn't split us up. Michelle, the first time we kissed, I couldn't really believe it was happening. How did you feel about it?
Well, I was quite nervous. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. It was quite strange because we'd only known each other for like a short time and we'd only been out twice. So it was strange, but I'm glad it happened.
When I look at other girls, well, I don't compare them to you and see if you're better or not. I look at them and I suppose the first area that I would look at them would be their backsides. That is important to me, but just because it's, I suppose, it's the habit, not for any other reason.
So you don't think, oh, she's not bad or...
Obviously I'll judge a girl whether she's pretty or not, but I mean, it doesn't make me like envy or I don't compare them to you. Honestly.
My favorite thing about you is that you make me laugh. And a guy who makes me laugh really makes me happy. My worst thing is that sometimes you can be very arrogant and I feel like you don't listen to me and understand me.
There was this pull, this attraction that was just so much more than previous times.
Yeah.
You can almost tell this is it.
Yeah, you could. Definitely.
Monica and Heath make some exciting discoveries about their love for each other.
Why is it that you chose me?
Why I chose you? You're very friendly when I met you. You had a very nice smile, very nice eyes. There was obviously a physical attraction. I was definitely physically attracted to you. And what else was there?
Run away.
No, I'm thinking. So that's what I'm doing.
So I was attractive and I had a nice smile and I was friendly.
Friendly. Yes, that's about it.
That's about it. Come on, give me more than that. Initially, you were probably the best looking guy in the place. So you were very attractive. And I thought whatever it is in those eyes, I want to get to know better. And yeah, I think you're sensitive and you're kind and loving and understanding. You're my best friend.
Okay.
And I think it's just really nice and easy to be with you, and it's not stressful. And
Initial attraction, why? Well, that was the physical attraction, I suppose. And yes, you were very intelligent as well. You had very good points when we had conversations. But there was that chemical reaction.
so it's not just a pretty face.
No, it's not just a pretty face, of course not. I wouldn't just go to the pretty face. There has to be something more. And you definitely had it. You had what I was looking for.
And I love the fact that you're just so sweet and caring. Yes. And sexy. But you know. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sexy legs, and that's that. And what makes me different from your ex-girlfriend?
Oh, a whole lot. Definitely a whole lot. Well, you're just exactly what... How can I put that? Exactly what I was looking for in a relationship. I told you before, I was really asking for somebody. You know, I was looking for somebody, and you were there. You were just the right person at the right time.
Where are you going with that?
That's really pleasant.
I didn't. This is Heath filming himself.
Thank you.
Cameraman.
There's red mark on your eyes.
Man.
Baby?
Yes.
I love you too.
And I love you.
These people are seriously love fools. Let's hear what the rest of the world has to say about their experiences.
I think the experience of falling in love is basic to humankind. I think as I survey the world's literatures from time immemorial, in one way or another, most of the world's literatures that I've read acknowledge something called the falling in love experience. So I don't think it's something that we've created at all. I think it's something that's very central, actually, to the human spirit.
I met a guy, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we were like just so in love. And I was trying with him for a year, but it didn't work out. He was boring. He was not creative, and he didn't understand what I'm doing.
I remember feeling completely, wonderfully out of control, threw my skirt over my head and ran round and was very, very excited and didn't know what to expect, but just couldn't think about anything else but the person who I fell in love with. And that was it.
The first time, I think it's quite naive, and I haven't reached it again. So I think it was a really wonderful situation. It was so romantic. We were just holding together, and you think everybody you can reach everything, and we talked about children right away and getting married, because it's the first time I experienced that. And I could not even imagine that this would end up. And it did end, of course. And because of all that experience, you enter a new relationship differently. And I think as older you get and as more relationships you had, and as you find yourself, it's harder to accept somebody next to you who's not perfectly all right for your situation.
Okay, so basically, at this point, you're like a month into the relationship.
Yeah, going very strong.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing one, I must say. I know
Very
for me at
interesting.
least. What does Michelle say?
Very good. Lots of fun.
Okay, and do you think, what do you think the future holds?
I think it's bright.
Well, at this point in time, I can't imagine us being apart, quite
No,
frankly.
not at all. We spend every day literally together. So.
It was like a drug. I was on a high and didn't really believe that maybe that's what it was.
Basically, I wouldn't really have cared if the buildings had fallen down on top of me or whatever. I mean, it's just such an awesome feeling that nobody can really explain to you.
I think love very often starts as lust rather than love, doesn't it? In my experience, love starts as lust. There's some chemical, there's something in someone's eyes, you can see their soul through their eyes, there's something that attracts you to them in that sense, and then you fall in love. I've never looked at someone and thought, or immediately thought I could love them without having been in lust with them first.
I believe when you see a person, you can want to have sex with them straight away. But you will never want to be in love with someone when you first see them.
I met a man at a party and thought, I am going to marry him. He doesn't know it yet, but that's it. He's got no choice.
You're a great believer in love at first sight, are you?
I wasn't, but it happened for me.
The first, when you feel in love, there is a passion. And when there is the passion, you don't see really the other person. You feel in love with someone and you have an idea of him, but in the time that you stay with him, you discover who is him, and maybe after 2 years you discover that he's not the man of your life.
Romantic love is central to the Western psyche. In our culture, it has virtually replaced religion as the way in which men and women seek meaning and ecstasy in their lives.
She is definitely the one I really want to be with. I think it's because she's so trustworthy. She's always there for me. There's something about her. Because everything else that's good, but one of the main reasons I really love about her is that she's trustworthy and she's always there for me.
Trustworthy? Is that the best he can do?
In the beginning, yes, I think a lot of it has to do with hormones. Even if you say, yeah, I like his personality, I like the way he talks, all that stuff. A lot of it has to do with hormones. It's just simply, it's pheromones, my friend.
I met my first wife, which was 2 horrendous years, so we'll gloss over that quickly. And then older, I was 31 when I met Christina. And it was lust at first sight, but not love at first sight for me. And we got on very well, and everything seemed very good. And at that stage, particularly with a failed marriage behind me, I wasn't looking for another commitment. But Christina just had everything that I wanted from a wife.
I think it's a chemical thing, and I think it's possibly lust at first sight, because I mean, you can't say at that point I'm falling in love with his sense of humor or his personality, so you're definitely falling in love with what he looks like. So let's call it lust at this point. Until you start talking, then maybe it is love at first sight.
What people often say to me is, you know, I met this person and within 2 weeks I was in love, for example, as the most extreme case. And what they actually got in touch with was fear and anxiety about, is this person going to love me, and am I going to be attractive enough, and are they going to ring me up, and there's so much internal agitation and so much excitement and so much lust and a whole lot of other things that the level of feeling makes them think it's love, and or the amount that they need the other person, or the dependency they have on the other person, they often call love.
The second day after I went out with her, I said to my father, I worked with at the time, I just said, he said, do you like her? I said, I'm going to marry her. Which I did, and 25 years later I'm still carrying on the bat. And I think it comes down that the first it's a wham bam thank you ma'am and let's go, but later on it does become more of a trust and I think a mutual agreement between each other.
It's a mixture of a lot of different elements. I can give you a huge list of an important element is the attraction, the feeling with the two minds, perhaps. Important is the beauty too, of course, and a lot of different, perhaps, smells.
Ogni amore credo che sia unico, irripetibile, perché le persone che stanno insieme non sono sempre le stesse, se ci sono più amori nel corso della vita.
Love is a frequency. It is probably, I know it is to be the highest frequency on the planet. It is what we will seek in terms of finding a soulmate and a partner, that one-on-one, you know, that person who makes us feel complete, the yin and the yang.
And I've been in love prior to getting married several times, more times than I think I can think of, or at least what I thought was being in love, and there was never anybody that I've ever been with that I got the same sort of connection with, the same sort of closeness to. You know, there's the infatuation, you know, the chase, there's all the other things that I think a lot are sexually driven, but once you get past the initial dog and heat sort of sensation, what's left? You know, after you have the sex with someone, you know, do you lay in bed and have a conversation with them, or do you roll over and go to sleep?
Non credo, appunto, ricollegandomi alle domande, che esista l'amore a prima vista.
Seduction. It's a play of seduction at the beginning.
Very simple question tonight, so simple, everyone knows the answer. What is love? Barry, you're in love. Welcome to the program.
There's no doubt about it. We lusted for one another in those years when we were courting and in the early part of our marriage.
I think it's perhaps nothing more than mutual dependency. I think love is mutual dependency when you're dependent on another person. It's a feel-good factor, really. I think it's overrated.
You feel it in the passion, in the emotion, and it's the energy of the mixing of two separate entities.
Emotionally, it was very exciting because it was the first time I felt love. Physically, it was very stimulating because it was the first time, you know, I'd like kissed somebody or that type of a thing.
I had a very big love with a person, with a man. I was spent with him 10 years of my life, and it was a great experience. I still love him, but in a different way. I'm not together with him anymore.
I believe that you can meet a person and you can have a really deep impression of the person. But I don't know if it's really love. It's a deep impression.
Once the lust goes, you then get to see the true person. You see them for what they are. You are more conscious of their opinions, their thoughts on things, the way they behave, the way they react to situations. So not long, But I would say the most exciting times have been being in lust rather than being in love. One of the things we find is that during the initial phase of the relationship, that is when they've just been together a short period of time, at some point they begin having intimate contact. And this includes not only sexual contact, but cuddling and kissing and nuzzling and gazing into each other's eyes and all those sorts of things that new lovers do. When those behaviors first appear, the frequency of them goes up dramatically. It stays up for a while, and then at some point in the relationship drops off and levels out at some medium level, and that medium level just seems to go on forever. But there's this initial peak and drop. The point where that drops is between 18 and 30 months, so 2 years, give or take 6 months.
At the end of the evening, we're all over each other. We're like, you know, you really want to get in there. And that is extraordinary, but it's definitely, you're like giving yourself up, you know what I mean? You're not yourself. And I think that the sanity, if you really want to have love, you got to be yourself. And this person has to be themselves. Well, it's definitely sexual. I mean, it's like you want to get as close to that person as possible, like crawl into their skin. That's how close it is. I remember that.
Things are calming down a bit now. Obviously, there's still a lot of passion and a lot of attraction, but I think we're settling down into more of a comfortable zone.
If you fall in love with somebody really, really quickly, head over heels, you're always going to be let down in the end because you can't maintain that level of love.
If you look at couples who are first together, I'm talking about romantic couples, the kind of love that they experience for each other is primarily sexual. I mean, they may think of it as more romantic and idealized, but it's fueled by sexual attraction very often. Then, during the next phase in the development of that kind of a relationship, it's almost as if they revert to infancy. They start talking baby talk to each other, they spend a lot of time cuddling and cooing and, you know, stroking each other. And then later, the kind of love you see between members of a well-functioning couple who've been together for a long period of time is this more parental kind of love. They take care of each other, sort of like a parent takes care of a child.
Something happens to you physiologically that makes somebody just loom so special that you just want to be with that person, protect that person, be altruistic, sacrifice your life for that person, to hell with the rest of the world, even if it's going to cause your father to disinherit you or your society to go to war or whatever. You see in Romeo and Juliet and all these stories are built around that. It's that kind of madness, but it's a functional madness. To get that man and that woman together to reproduce and to make a unit that will see the species on. I think that's the core of it.
I think everybody agrees with me on this point, yes. Love can make you crazy.
Crazy!
Actually, we found the same abnormality in the serotonin system in subjects in love and in obsessive-compulsive patients.
You behave like a fool.
I opened the door, and there was my husband. I looked at this man, and it was so weird. We had this immediate connection, like the minute I opened the door, and he turned around and he looked at me, and we locked eyes, and we kept staring at each other, and the next thing I know, he was getting up on stage, and he was the drummer in this band that was playing.
It's emotional, inwardly, you know, that it was actually what you can say love at first sight. I was a man of about 22 when I got married.
I would have had to have had that chemical, physical attraction to the person first, I think, before I was able to fall in love with them. There had to be that spark there. Whatever it was, it was definitely a strong physical attraction.
My life is a soap opera. Okay, I've had some great experiences. I've had some crappy experiences.
It's as if we have a template for a suitable or ideal sexual partner. And when we encounter someone who's a reasonable match to that, it sort of triggers attraction. That corresponds to a change in brain chemistry. There's research to suggest that there are increases in phenylethylamine, which is abbreviated as PEA. It's an endogenous amphetamine. So it's like a natural speed that our brains produce. And when people are newly in love,
they feel not only euphoric, but really energized. Even though they're sleeping less and eating less, they still have more energy.
These chemical things, it's really a fact. I mean, this is true. I mean, it's not, fantasy.
If it's chemical for me, I can feel it right in my stomach. Then I know that there is feelings there.
It's that kind of feeling where you can't stop smiling, you can't eat, you can't sleep. You speak to him on the phone and you won't get off the phone. And that cheesy thing when you say, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up. Okay, at the count of 3. The kind of thing.
Nothing more than lust with potential.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now there speaks a woman who knows what she's talking about.
Whether or not you say it's infatuation or deep love or whatever it is, what it boils down to is chemistry. That's where you get started in the first place before you find out that you're in love or not in love. You meet this person and there's something that just draws, not literally, okay, you do get some.
But of course there is an evolution about the first feeling in love with him and after 5 years.
It's not purely physical attraction anymore with us. It's that as well, but I've discovered he's actually such a nice and caring person and loving, and he'll call me 3 times a day to see how my day is going, and he sends me roses and surprises me with chocolates still, and normally this kind of thing wears off, but he's so sensitive and just understanding. Like most guys would not be about the tiniest little things, and I really somehow believe that this is so much more special than any other relationship I've had.
No, man. What's this camera doing here again? Please, give me this bloody thing, man. I'm sick of this camera. What are you doing with the camera every day? Every day I'm facing this camera in my face. What the hell are you doing?
What's wrong with you?
Get yourself go. I can't understand you.
Are you mad? What are you doing? I don't love you anymore. Nothing's the way it used to be. You're not the same person. I can't stand this. No, I'm sick of your shit.
Man, come on, man. Please help me. I really need your help. You guys need to convince her that everything will be alright and that everything will be like it was in the beginning when everything was so perfect. Please, I need your help desperately. Things are getting out of control and it's not working anymore.
So when the sex begins to peter out, then they don't have that kind of bond between them. And maybe they're well suited even, or maybe they're ill suited. It's hard to say. But they haven't done the sorts of things that people do in order for a bond to form.
To fall in love is a transient condition. And according to our findings, it lasts from between 6 and 18 months. But this is a very individual data, I mean. But if the relationship does not change, it does not last, according to my personal experience as a therapist. So all human relationships must develop, must be dynamic, otherwise they finish.
I look at my close friends around me, and even though at the time they'd say, "Oh, I've got to talk to you. I've got to ring you up. I've just got to talk to you about. I'm just having the most amazing. I'm just like so in love." And I would meet them in a cafe, and they would just be sparkling. They would just look gorgeous as soon as they walked in. I mean, they just had this kind of like fairies and elves just dancing around their heads. They were just like in love, and that was it. And then you would, a few months later, there'd be this phone call. So how is it? Oh well,
You can see somebody across the room and something chemical can happen, but you've got to work on it to get it to its potential.
Okay. There's always that work issue, isn't it? I mean, and I think it's something that we're not taught enough, is that love takes a lot of work.
And on the other side of the world,
I think you have to work at that. I think it's really important. I think if you lose lust within your relationship, of course it can't be that, every moment of the day kind of thing. But certainly if that goes from a relationship, I think it's very hard to continue a relationship where there's no physical binding between the two people. And I think that's the death of love in many ways as well.
And I'm inclined to feel it was in, a psychological or
visual stimulus initially, which then sets off the chemicals. No doubt the chemicals exist. But yes, eventually there was the love that was reciprocated, and then this develops into something, and then eventually into a great struggle, and a great battle, etc. too, because there is the great loving fight eventually, you see.
Yes.
I mean, the romantic stuff, the mushy, ushy, ushy stuff is nice. It's nice, please, some more. I will have a second helping, third helping of that. But effort. People don't try. And I think love is understanding the other person. Understanding another person takes effort.
But when it's about too much work, when you just feel like there's less fun and more work, and you're always negotiating and sorting things out, then it's not fun anymore. It's not my idea of being in a relationship anymore. And yeah, you need to cut your losses.
You need to have other aspects of love, the caring, the nurturing, the sharing. If you are a dysfunctional personality, you will not be able to function in a relationship.
After the first, this enchantment phase, you have to work and to fight for your love to be long-lasting.
If you're with the right person, it's work. I'm not saying it's not. It's definitely work. But if you're with the wrong person, I could see it being a living hell, really, because it takes a lot of work when you have an extremely strong love bond.
I don't know, like he phones me 10 times a day still, and I got work to do. I need to do my work, and he's just stressing me out so much. I thought it was going to be so nice, like us together, and it was working out in the beginning. But now it's just too much. I know we argue so much now, and he's not as caring and as loving as he used to be.
They may choose someone that they're very physically attracted to, and then, but have nothing in common with, or who has very different values or different goals in life or whatever. You would call that a poor match. A matchmaker would never put those two people together, but they could still be sexually attracted to each other. And in any sort of a system where you let people get together simply on the basis of their desires, you end up with these poor matches sometimes. So when that initial phase of passion and strong attraction and idealization wears off, there's nothing. I mean, they find that they don't even like each other anymore sometimes. They can hardly imagine how they ever felt attracted to that person.
Basically, we spent more time apart than we did together outside of our outside affairs, meaning as human beings in human nature, you find other people attractive. And it was hard for us to stay faithful and apart. And then we found when we were together, actually, we didn't like each other. And it was very hard, the whole adjustment of trying to be together and be married and be just with each other. It was just a bit too much. We're both very sexual people.
The funny thing is, though, with obviously all relationships, is that there's nothing continuous, and every day obviously changes, weeks change, people change. And I think what you've got to learn is to grow together. And sometimes it's really hard to grow together, and sometimes you grow apart. And I think that just comes with experience and trying to understand that person.
Okay. Well, here we are, 9 months later, and we're still together, which is a very good sign. In comparison to the beginning of our relationship, I would say things have calmed down a lot more. Things seem to be very stable, and we're settling in together, and yeah, things are very calm.
If it lasts, you're lucky, but the prediction is slowly going to just peter out, and people already know what to do then. You either then just break or you endure it.
There's so many endearing things, fascinating things about other people that if you let yourself go, I don't think it's that hard to fall in love. Whether it lasts is a different thing, but to fall in love.
But every time I went into one relationship, I took something with me, and when I came out, I took something out with me, an experience that I've learnt, something I even, I remember not to go out with somebody like that again, somebody who hasn't got that trait, and then I'll take that to the next relationship, and I think on each person I've improved.
Every time you think you're in love, you think, oh yeah, this is the difference. But it really is different when it's healthy and it's real and it's, I think, soul-based, you know? It really is.
You know, when you meet someone who's a close enough match and you're looking for a sexual partner and they're looking for a sexual, and the two of you get together and your brain, you know, starts shooting off these very inherently rewarding chemicals, you feel like you have found your one and only. You feel like fate put the two, you know, you happen to be walking across town that day when the person passed, or you happen to go to that particular party, and fate brought you together because you're such a perfect match. Well, when that peters out in a couple of years, or if it peters out in a couple of years, and then you meet someone else later, and you have that, you know, oh, this is my one and if that happens to you often enough, you begin to get the idea that it's, you know, it could happen any number of times with any number of people.
Maybe some people have to fall in love 5 times before they actually know what love is.
Addirittura alcuni non lo riconoscono, cioè che possono anche non capire, ma non riconoscerlo è ancora più grave. Sentirlo come un campanello, drink, drink.
There is a changing pattern and trend on the planet right now. People who have not married and have really not experienced in love, they know chemistry, they know in the 20s there's going to be hormones, you know, but have not really experienced a soulmate by 35, say, okay, are already starting to see themselves as not marrying and for the woman not having a child.
I'm kind of young, you know, so it's like this can be a mystery for me, you know. I got just few experience of real love, well, what I can say of love, you know, about myself, you know. And I don't know, I really don't know. It's like I'm kind of lost, you know. You start with me and I'm really lost.
For sure, they don't want this dream of building a relationship together. I mean, it's not in their need from what I see and from what I experience with young people. So we are in a very interesting turning point concerning relationship and love.
You'll get some people who are devoutly religious or whatever will still want to have the, you know, happily ever after and get married and make a go of it, and who wouldn't mind sacrificing and stuff like that. But that might be a small number, maybe 20% of people will be prepared to do that and be able to see it through. I think the bulk will go in terms of either serial kind of getting married, getting divorced, and living in all sorts of other ways. But a large number are just going to remain single. A lot of men are not marrying anymore, and a lot of women are not marrying anymore, by choice.
If you have your own act together and you know who you are, you're less likely to be fooled by the things that are offered in the name of love, that may not be love at all. But I think that's a hard thing to do. You know, that's the lifetime's work, is working out who we are so that we're ready to offer ourselves well in a relationship. Whereas a lot of what you read and hear is about finding somebody else with whom you can connect. It is about both. I wish the emphasis was more on us, you know, as individuals.
I think you have to love yourself to give love. And I think that's the most difficult thing, to understand who you are and to love your faults and your excitements and the way you're living and your personality, and to express that and to feel love for yourself. I think that's very, very hard to reach. And when you're good with yourself and you love yourself, then I think you are able to love other people.
Well, it's time for us to wake up to what really is possible in love. And can you imagine what our society and universe and world would be like if we had a higher level of love? Because if we're not happy in love or in a marriage, we go to work, we're unhappy, you may say to me, well, how are you, Scott? And I say, fine, how are you? But we're not fine.
You see, the thing is, it depends. You can settle for what you think you can get, which is what a lot of us do. You think, oh, in the meantime, let me just, you know, do this while I wait for the one person. But I think there's one person. But I mean, you need to, you know, kiss a couple of frogs before you get to the prince. I think all of us are busy kissing the frogs.
We live for love. We can have all the money in the world, and we can have fame and opportunities galore, but really, what we live for is love.
Et puis, on n'a pas été ensemble trop jeunes, ce qui
fait on a appris à se connaître et on est, je crois, suffisamment mûrs l'un et l'autre pour savoir ce qu'est l'amour et la vie et que l'amour, c'est, enfin, je sais pas, à partir du moment où on est bien ensemble et qu'on est sincère ensemble, il n'y a pas de raison.
I think once someone feels love, they obviously know that sensation. Whether or not they're ever going to recoup their first love, I don't know. I think love is a sort of sense of happiness with another person, a sense of confidence within the other person, a sense of knowing stability, nothing more than that. Whether or not it's going to last, I don't know.
The capacity today is that you can divorce and you can really meet another person and build another relation that will make you discovering more love.
It's just finding someone who you can click with, who can respond to you, who can have fun with. It's the chemical reaction. There's love out there somewhere. I don't believe that there's just the one person that can provide you with what you want. But if you give up hope, that's it, isn't it? You may as well resign yourself to being a spinster with your cardi and your 7 cats and whatever else.
Maybe everyone's looking for something too perfect. Everyone's looking for the perfect love, and maybe that doesn't really exist.
I haven't had the best of relationships, I would say. I've chosen a hard path in life as far as relationships go. But it's, for me, it's shown me what I actually want. Going through all the weeds and the badness of relationships, I know what I want now, today.
It's fairly easy to find lust, to have that chemical reaction. I mean, I'll be honest, that's what first attracted me to my husband. I mean, we had this intense chemical attraction. And I didn't know it wasn't love right away, although it sure felt great. But it became love once we started really discovering the friendship, because then he was my best friend, and we had that.
I had different and sometimes difficult experiences with love, but I'm not in love now.
You know, and I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake in a relationship, because, you know, initially they do the love at first sight where they see something and they're just infatuated with it physically. And they don't care to find out what the hell's under the hood.
Know in your heart that it's going to happen when it's right. And don't force things, and don't manipulate, and don't play games, and communicate, and be real, and love. Real love, unconditional love, no head trips, just pure, honest love, like you love a child.
It's amazing. It seems like true love it lasts when you can really cherish that friendship aspect almost more than anything.
Fools are my specialty. I attract them. I'm a fool magnet. Do you see me? Look at me. This is a fool magnet.
It was love, true love. I thank God for him daily. Still do. I had a good partner in life. Good partner.
I feel often like that about my wife, that I love her more now than when she was young, when I should have loved her more, you know, when she was sleeker and you know, all those things that she was then, and I do love her more now. And for me, that's the extraordinary thing, is that I love where I can see how her body has changed through what we have shared, the children that we have shared. I love the way I can see when her mouth smiles, the kind of, you know, the little wrinkles and things. I would hate for her to have facelifts and those kind of. I would just hate it, because it's like I know her. That is the woman that I know.
But you see, and of course, these are the kind of things that are virtually impossible from a scientific point of view to pin down. Yes. And this is why you don't see it in scientific research.
Don't leave. What's going on, man? I've just got here.
I can't believe this is happening to me. It can't be true. She's just left me. I can't believe it. What am I gonna do now? Stupid bloody bitch, I can't believe it.
Well, you know.
After all this time.
Don't worry, man. These things happen. Many more fish in the sea, as they say.
I can't handle this, man. This is much too much for me today. What am I gonna do? Bloody bitch.
People is asking more. I mean, more in every field of their lives. And so they are asking more in sexuality, they are asking more in love. And that's good, but it creates moments of, they have no satisfaction sometimes. They can get no satisfaction.
There are small things that bother me, I suppose. She's a bit controlling. She's a bit, how can I say, possessive as well. But all in all, I suppose it's kind of things that you want to get used to, things that you have to get used to when you're having a relationship with somebody else.
When you have sex, you know, there are a lot of hormonal and biochemical changes in your body, and so we wanted to control this factor. Even Socrates, in the several centuries ago, wrote that when you kiss somebody, you get poisoned. I think it's true. When there is a physical contact, very intense physical contact, something changes in your body.
The best relationships are when one whole person meets another whole person, not where one incomplete person is in desperate yearning search for somebody to make them complete. We have to find the completeness within ourselves.
At the moment, I think I have to settle my own life, sort my own life out insofar as I need to sort out my job, my house, and to a certain extent love myself before I can love another.
I think the people who are most likely to feel that they've really found a partner that they can live with for a long time are people who fundamentally know themselves well. I think in our society there's a lot of emphasis on choosing your partner, so looking to the other to find out who are they, what are they on about, are they going to suit me? And often in relationship counselling people will come and talk about their partner. You know, there is something the matter with my partner, they're not doing this or that.
Maybe 10% of people have a relationship that they really can, you know, lives up to sort of the highest expectations. And like another 10% who sort of have the sort of the second tier. But 80% of us find it all pretty frustrating.
And I think the people that have chosen very well have often got to know themselves very well. So the people that are very knowledgeable about themselves know who they are, where they're up to, where they've come from, they've dealt with past issues, they know what they're looking for. They're the ones most likely to make a good connection because they're at peace with themselves in some way, and hopefully they've chosen somebody else who has those skills and characteristics. And so the love that they find is much more settled and about a resonance or a connection they see in each other. It's not about a needy pursuit of something, like a sort of a desperate, I've got to have someone, or not really knowing why you've chosen them, it's just they're cute or, you know, for some other purpose. So to me, that's what it would take to find someone where it lasts. The percentage of people that do that, I don't know how to pick that, but I know it's not as many as we would probably like it to be.
We just have one life, so it's kind of sad that people are losing their time with a partner and they're unhappy with. So people should think more about love and should be maybe a little bit more patient, should wait for that what they want.
Left channel. Right channel.
Hydrogen, H, +1. Sodium, Na, +1. Magnesium, Mg, +2. Aluminum, Al, +3. Potassium, K, +1. Calcium, Ca, +2. Chromium, Cr, +2, 3, 6.
Do you think that Led Zeppelin and Frank Sinatra would go together? Edit.